fancy friends. How is everyone this morning? So good, I hope. So good. I am ready to just get painty and just kind of relax into my creative process this morning. I read some quotes that I thought I wanted to share with you because they just kind of spoke to me about creative process and how we sometimes block ourselves for the silliest reasons, silliest reasons. So I'm feeling like let's just relax and get creative and paint. I'm just going to paint my watercolor one that I started last week, or excuse me, 2 days ago on Tuesday. And so that's kind of where I'm feeling. Good morning, Sue. How are you this morning? So good, I hope. So good. If you are brand new here or you haven't done this just yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. If you would like, follow, subscribe, talk, chat, share, and Corbiere-Scott Designs with all your creative friends, and like it yourselves and comment. Let's keep the conversation going on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and then ask to join our private Facebook group, Stitch Along with Anne and Corbiere-ScottDesigns.com. I'm feeling like I am so ready to just get painty this morning. So here is where we left off on Tuesday. I have some jiggy-jaggy blending to do right here. And so I'm going to, I think I have a number 4 here. Yeah. Everybody make sure you have a great big drink. Got to work on our 64 ounces. Okay. So I'm just going to get my brush wet. Good morning, Valerie. How are you today? So I let my brush soak for a little nanosecond, and then I'm gonna tap off the majority of that water. But now I have damp bristles, and that's what I want for my jiggy-jaggy blend. So now I'm gonna come in and just jiggle the end of my brush around. That gives me a nice, it breaks up the harsh line, and then I can just pull that color, and I just like to work it. Good morning, Nance. Oh my gosh, that must have been harrowing, but at least you get to hang out with your pal, right? How cool is that? So I like to break up the harsh line that happens, right? But then I want to put that color in a place that works for me. So I'm going to pull it to the edge of my petals. So that's going to give me my petals a really nice shape, right? And remember, we want where the petals meet the center of the flower, that needs to be the deepest color, because that there's a natural shadow that happens right there. So we want to kind of work on that. And this just takes some time, and we just need to be embrace that time that it takes. I read a quote by John Cleese. You know, the actor from Monty Python? I read this quote from him, and he has a whole talk on creativity, but I'm just going to read you a little bit of it this morning. If you're going to be creative, you have to be in a state of play. And you can't play if you are being careful. Nothing will stop you being creative so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. And that is the stinking truth, right? We want to make whatever it is that we're doing, we want it to work for us inside, you know? Take our time. So I'm feeling like I wanted to break my harsh line, but I think I'm going to want to come in here with a little more color. It's like you had an extended artsy vacation, Nance. Okay. And remember, turn your substrate. Make it work for you. Make it easy on your hand. You'll be so much more creative. When your hand's not like in some kind of weird, unnatural position. And like I said, just push that color into the places that you know it's going to work for us, right? So you know deep up here is going to be a deeper color, and then we want the sides of those petals to be a little deeper in color. And it doesn't have to be much color to create the illusion of shape. Because that's kind of what paint does, right? It creates an illusion of form. Right, so like here, I have this natural, when you take your time, hey Peg, when you take your time, that's how you're going to start to see those opportunities, right? So I know, so this blob of paint, right? Once I soften that harsh edge, it kind of naturally goes down this side. So why wouldn't I just continue that, right? And then look what we get. So pretty. And you can go back, and if you start to see another little opportunity, there we go. Let's do that here. Okay. Continue. I just thought that quote was so interesting and kind of like just what we need to be reminded of. Do you know what I mean? That you can't be, your creativity is going to be so stifled if you're so afraid of making a mistake. And especially with my art, right? If it's abhorrent, what you've painted, to you, because it won't be to anyone else, then you can just print it again. Once you buy it, it's yours. You can print it as many times as you want. Right, so let's bring that color down on the sides of those petals. Back, forth, just gentle. And when you're painting, and you get to that state of play, oh my gosh, you're going to be so happy with the results. Do you know what I mean? You're going to really feel the difference. There we go, there we go. I love that moment right when it breaks. Then I feel like, so much can happen. So I feel like I want to do this, you know, break these lines down here, or this, you know, the edge of this paper, of this paint, excuse me. I want to break that down, and then I want to go paint something else and then come back. Like, I think I want to let this dry and kind of see where it goes and what happens, right? And then we'll add little bits more, little bit more color, but like just ever so slightly, because that's going to, remember, we're trying to create shape on these petals. And you'll be, the more time you take, the happier you'll be with your flowers. There we go. So pretty. So now I have a couple layers of brown here, and I think I want to come in with, I don't have, there we go. Let's see. If I just do some dots. There we go. I think I had a layer of, I think it was, what color did I put down first? Bread, maybe? This bread, I'm using my beam paints this morning. Bread, and then burnt sienna. And now I'm going to come in and do another layer of burnt sienna. And that's going to just a little bit more dimension. And I'm just doing some dots. I kind of want to see what happens with that. Good morning, Vicky. I'm glad you find the internet. I'm also going to come in with a little bitty bit of this burnt sienna and do like a little dot on the top of each of these petals. And just kind of work that in. Right now I'm just going to go around with a dot. Number one, that's kind of fun to play with dots. But number two, I just want to get the paint on there and then clean it off my brush. Good morning, Kay. And then clean my brush and then tap it off so I just have a damp. And then I'm just going to work that burnt sienna into the tops of these petals. That's going to give me just a little bit more dimension at the tippity top of the petals. That's going to give us just a little bit of more dimension and form. So we're just going to move that color around just a little bit, and then we can come around after it's dried and we'll move it just a little bit more, All the places where you think there will naturally be some shadow. Like I know this petal is underneath this petal, right? So I want to put a little tiny bit of that color right there, and that's going to give me little bits of dimension. Okay, turn, turn, turn. Now let's do it over here. And if you leave it sit too much, you might get that little, like a ring around where the color is. Well, then just, you know, work your brush in there. There we go. So nice. Grab a little bit more color. Just start to dab, dab, dab. But I am barely putting the end of my paintbrush into that color. And just kind of enhance what I've already got going here. Yes. Maybe I'll do that over here too. It's just giving me a little bit more dimension. Kind of getting in the zone this morning. It's such a great feeling. So we know this petal is on top, so we know there's going to be just a little tiny bit of a shadow right here, right? And then a little bit right there too. So, I think, if it's closer, maybe you guys can see more where I'm going with this. And I know it looks rough up close, but I'll just continue to work it. But we have a whole flower over here that I haven't even started. This wild prairie rose. So I'm going to use my beach rose, which is, I think it might be one of my favorite, beach rose and fiddlehead. Well, I do have a lot of favorites in beam paints, but I think beach rose and fiddlehead might be my ultimate favorites. Everybody take a drink. But I really like that wild salmon too. Anyway. My little cheat sheet up here that talked about so it has Wild Prairie Rose is pink on the outside and then comes into a yellow center. So let's get our, this is, which one? Poplar Yellow, Fall Poplar Yellow. So let's get some water in there. Starting to work for us. Hey, the other night, was it last night? No, the night before. We were all sitting in the backyard and we started to look at the planets. And if you don't have this app on your phone, you should get it. You know me, it's the free one. It's called Sky View. And you can point it to the sky and it shows you what you're looking at. So remember we had talked about the planets lining up? We saw Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, Uranus. I don't remember what the last one was, but oh my gosh, it was so amazing. Like they just looked like dots. Like some of them were bright, certainly brighter than others, but once we saw what we were looking at, oh my gosh, you guys, get that app. It's free and it's so much fun. It's so much fun to just fiddle with. Oh, I wanted to share with you this brush. I think I might have shared it with you when I first came home from Canada. This is a brush from Beam Paints, and it is made from a twig from a cedar tree and deer fur. And it is, so do you see how the bristles are all flayed out like that? Once you put it in water, they go to a perfect point. You can just pull them. I have a lot of water in there, sorry. I'm gonna tap that off. There we go. Right, so let's take that and work that into that pink. I have one crazy wild hair. Okay, so let's get some of that pink down, that pink beach rose, which I love beach rose. And it's that pretty, you know, remember my favorite Crayola is carnation pink. And this kind of looks like carnation pink to me. So I'm just going to get some color along the edge. And remember, we're going to fussy cut these so we can absolutely overshoot the edges. Do you know what I mean? We can absolutely go outside of the lines. So I'm going to leave. There we go. Let that sit for a little minute. Clean off my brush. And then I want to come in with, so this is the bitter root, and it is, they say it's fuchsia in color, so I wanted to deepen this just a little bit. So I have that I had the cherry magenta. Here we go, cherry magenta. So I'm going to add some water to that, and I'm thinking I want to just deepen the tips of these petals. This color is so pretty. So I'm going to just let that sit for a minute. Oh, we have this, we have the fall poplar yellow here. Let's pull some of that into the center of these, of the wild prairie rose. Right? So I have some color down here, and it's feeling kind of intense, so I'm going to take my paper towel and rip off a little piece. I'm going to tap that down and pull some of that color off. So funny it makes polka dots because the paper towel has like embossed polka dots into it. There we go. So now I've already lightened it a bit, and now we can just move that out. I love moving color. I love that. I think that's why I like water-based mediums so much, because I love that I can just move that color with water. So I'm just going to start to work this yellow out. I'll come back with more pink, but I just want to get that color going. Moving it out. There we go. Oh, do you remember a while ago I told you guys that I had this Willie Nelson quote, and I loved it, and I couldn't find it. Of course. I couldn't find it when I wanted to talk about it. Whatevs, but I found it. Okay, you guys, here's the quote. I think I need to keep being creative, not to prove anything, because it makes me happy just to be doing it. I think trying to be creative, keeping busy, has a lot to do with keeping you alive. Willie Nelson. I'm thinking we need to put that in our art journal. So I'm going to figure out a way for us to all put that in our art journal. Okay, so now I'm just working on the edge of this pink that we just put down. Some jiggy blend. I think I want to deepen the edges, certainly, because it's looking kind of flat. Soften that just a little. And sometimes it's going to look worse before it looks better, and you kind of just have to trust the process. Remember, what was our quote this morning? If you're going to be creative, you have to be in a state of play, and you can't play if you're being careful. Nothing will stop you being creative so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. Don't fear it, just embrace it. Right? And I know it's hard. It's hard to do that. That's for sure. Okay. I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to work this water into my cherry magenta. Tap that off, because I just want little bits of this cherry magenta up here. There we go. Ooh, that's a lot. So we're just going to put bits of this, and then we'll work that back in. Like this petal has so much, right? We're going to come back. I'm going to steal a little bit of color from there. I think this is going to really enhance the shape of this flower. Bitterroot is such a pretty shaped flower. Let's see if we can move that just a little bit. There we go, back, forth, back, forth. Just push it right into that, the drawn line, and it's going to make that drawn line just so pretty. And just that little bit prominent, but not too much. There we go. So I've been reading a little bit further in Inner Excellence, and I have a passage I want to talk about today. Now I'm feeling like I might want to put some of this cherry magenta over here in the Wild Prairie Rose too. There we go, little by little. Turn, turn, turn. Like, just look at the, it's just enhanced it so much. Just the addition of that little tiny bit of color. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. And a damp brush, it's kind of amazing what a damp brush can do. I mean, it's going to still move that color, but kind of in a more subtle way. So pretty. There we go. I know. Well, I think that it's, I think he self-published it, Valerie, on Amazon now. I think he did have a book deal, and then he made some revisions, and so he's self-publishing it now on Amazon. I know, but I want bookstores to stay in business too. I don't want Amazon to be our only resource, you know? Because Joni and I were just talking about the power of going into a bookstore. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. You know, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at the difference that's made. I just love it. I feel like I want just a little bit more color over here. This is really watery over here, but I want to see what happens if I just add color to that area. Just let it bleed out just a little bit and then come in with my paper towel and tap it off. See what happens. Yes. I like that when it just has that bleed out. Okay. I'll leave that alone for a little bit. I know. And I find all kinds of treasures when I go to a bookstore. Not just books, but periodicals. I like to look at all the different periodicals. Sometimes they have really interesting toys or really interesting puzzles, or do you know what I mean? They always have some cool stationery stuff. They always have really interesting cards and that kind of thing. Oh, I just love it. Everybody take a drink. Okay, I'm thinking I want to read the passage that I've been... Oh, thanks, Valerie. I want to get some green over here, but I think I should read a passage and then it'll be dry enough that I can fiddle with it some more. So, I have gone back into part of what we were reading the other day. I thought that it might be interesting. So, I think I talked to you about that he went to the desert, remember? In 2004. And so, and that's when he wrote the first version of this book. And he was really struck by Winston Churchill's words, "Those destined for greatness must first walk alone in the desert." I went to the desert to live deliberately in solitude so I could live out Churchill's words. Words that also penetrated my heart were from Henry David Thoreau, who went into nature as well. Like Thoreau, I wanted to, this is so good, front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when it came time to die, discover that I had not truly lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation, unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck all of the marrow out of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. I thought that was so, it really kind of spoke to me. So then he talks a little bit more about his process and like his way of thinking and where he was kind of going. And he talks about how can an Olympic athlete train for 4 years for an event that may last less than a minute and have peace and confidence under that kind of pressure. And so he talks more about that it's so much more than just reaching that that pinnacle of physical success, but it's also it would be meaningless if it didn't improve their quality of life. And so he started to study two main concepts, which I think are fascinating. How to have I'm having a hard time reading this morning. How to have extraordinary poise and mental toughness under extreme pressure, and how to live the best possible life, one with deep contentment, joy, and confidence. So I'll just let that percolate in your noggins a little bit. But the more I read it, the more I see why A.J. Brown was so enamored with his words, with Jim Murphy's words, and his whole kind of philosophy. And so remember, A.J. Brown is going to be playing on Sunday in the Super Bowl. He plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. And so I thought it would be interesting to see where that number one, if he's reading the book on the sidelines, and number two, if you know what, I think I have all these different golds, you guys. Well, this one isn't gold. I think this is a coppery. Yeah, that's copper. This is, what is this one? Rose gold. That's kind of pretty. This one is, one's Dreamers, and this is Dreamers, and this is Fairy Tale. I was thinking, wouldn't it be kind of cool to do like just a touch of that, the gold in these goldy centers of these flowers. And then I have this amethyst, which is also a absolutely, Sue, I absolutely can. I want to put a little bit of this shimmer. This one I did almost all shimmer, so I think it'll be really, this seems like, I think, which one is this? This is the Dreamer's Gold. I'm feeling like that might be good for these, but this, I think, this Fairy Tale Gold will be better on the, Black Eyed Susan. It's kind of deeper, the colors are deeper. And this, we need that to be a black center. So I have a Sharpie that I'm going to color the center, because then I know I'm going to get a nice deep black, and I'll go over this with my micron if need be. Look at the difference in that flower just by doing that, just by adding that black. I love that, right? So just keep that Sharpie. Okay, let's see. Let's come in. So I want to try adding just a little bit of this amethyst. So I want to work that water into that shimmer, because you know that's the key to shimmery paints. Really work that way. And I will just tell you, when you work your water into a shimmery paint, the swirl that appears is just mesmerizing. You just kind of, you get lost in that swirl of color and shimmer, and it's so pretty. So I'm just going to take a bit of this and just on the tips of these petals, get a little bit of that going, and then down here too. There. Okay. All right. So I think I want to let that dry, and then I'll come back and move that a little bit more. I'm thinking. Oh, and then I wanted to come in with the Dreamer's Gold, and I'm going to bring in my, I think this is a number 1, yeah. Because I want a fine touch. So let's work that. Again, we're just going to work the water into the pigment. It's so pretty. And I'm telling you, again, mesmerizing. Now, let's come in and get just a little bit of that gold on top of this yellow. That poplar, fall poplar yellow. Just come in with a bit. There we go. Love that. Okay, now for this one, let's do much of the same. The shimmer, oh my gosh. It just makes me so happy, Kay. So I'm just going to do some dots of that shimmer. On all the yellow parts, you know. There we go. Turn. Let's do it here on the bitter root. And like I said, I'm not, I don't want it like solid shimmer. I just want enough that it can kind of catch your eye, you know. Just add a little bit more dimension to your flower. All these little tricks, all the layers are what is going to make your flower stand out and be really interesting and have a little bit more dimension. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so now, let's do our Black-Eyed Susan. First, let's take a drink. And we're going to do the, which one is this? Fairy Tale Gold on that. So let's work some water into that pigment. You can kind of feel when it kind of like breaks and I don't know, when the water and the pigment kind of become one, you can feel it. Anyway, let's come in here. And I'm just going to do the polka dots like we had done earlier with other colors. And I don't know if I'm going to come back and soften these or if I'm going to leave them as polka dots. I haven't figured that part out yet. But I do know that I want to have some more dimension, you know? And the shimmer, sometimes a little goes a long way, you know? So let's see what that looks like. Oh, I'm kind of digging that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like down here, I just have bits of shimmer on the tips of the petals. And up here, I've done more like polka dots. But I'm wondering if I just come in here and soften those polka dots a little bit on the petals. So we just have there we go. And that damp brush, I'm telling you, it's the greatest tool. Remember, don't be afraid of making a mistake. Mostly, I think, most painty mistakes, you can correct that. There are a million ways to. Make it work for you. That's kind of making me happy. It's interesting, the darker brown underneath, but then with the shimmer on top, it's creating this really nice blend that was just a kind of a happy mistake. You never know. You never know. Let's do some polka dots up here. And then let's do some shimmer on those petals. Let's do up here first. It doesn't take much. And then let's just do some shimmer on the biggest part of the petals. Ta-ta. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, let's see if we can do that same thing where we do the jiggy blend with the shimmer and the deeper brown. Let's see if we can create some really cool dimension. I think we're getting there. Yes! Oh my gosh, I love that. So as you're creating today, I really want you to take your time. And remember to not get caught up on, expectations and that kind of thing. Just start to paint and see what just kind of comes naturally. So we'll this. I'm thinking this is like some color mixing with on the substrate, which is kind of one of my favorite ways to mix color. Is right on the substrate. You kind of have a whole different mix than if you do it on a palette or something. There we go. Look at that. So pretty. I have these, since this pink, or excuse me, this gold is a deeper shade of gold. I'm going to move this around a little bit so it's not like a stark stripe of color. Do you know what I mean? The Dreamer's Gold is a little bit more, it's so much lighter. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Like part of me is feeling like maybe I need to come in to the center of the Black-Eyed Susan with, I don't know, like maybe something lighter, like maybe even white, to create a little bit of dimension of all the little, they're kind of like hair. The center of a Black-Eyed Susan is kind of cushy with all these little teeny petals all squished together. But I wonder if I did like even just like ever so slight amounts of yellow, that's going to give us kind of what I'm wanting. A little bit, I think. Like that is adding that little bit of dimension that I wanted. Tap that off. I don't want it to be too much. This is better. This is better. I'm just almost stippling with the end of my brush the yellow dots. And that's kind of simulating the center of Black-Eyed Susan. Let's see. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now I want to do a little bit more over here. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, just like little teeny tiny. Yep, 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 yep. I think having that base of the deeper brown, I could even come in with something deeper than that later on. That's making me all kinds of happy. I think I want to kind of do something similar here. In the center of these, the prairie rose. Just deepen that yellow. Little by little, just a slow build. You know, we have all different kinds of ways we can paint. Today, this is just what I'm feeling. I hope that you are too. And I see that it is time to say goodbye because once again, I'm over. I adore you all. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy days to just come and paint with me. Sue, I will send it over ASAP. I adore you all. Thanks so much. And don't forget to open your newsletter tomorrow. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, everyone.